which means let's go. Now, John, good afternoon, friends. My name is Matt. I'm going to be your safari guide for the next 2 weeks, but don't worry, it's only going to feel like 20 minutes. Now, our roads are a little bumpy up ahead, so we ask you please remain seated at all times. Keep your hands on the lanes and inside the trunk. This is going to be a photo safari, so please feel free to take all the pictures you like. But we do recommend putting your camera in a sport or action mode, as we cannot stop for every animal, and some animals are more active than others. Now, speaking of the animals, everyone that we're going to be seeing are wild, so we ask you to please refrain from calling out to them or making any types of sound effects. They will not understand what we are saying. We are entering the Little Victory Forest, and what you'll notice about the forest is that it is filled with some heavy and dense vegetation, which a lot of the animals like to use for camouflage. So always keep your eyes on the bushes, as you never know who's going to be staring back at you. In fact, look over on the right-hand side by the wall. There's going to be an okapi up there. The okapi have the dark-colored coats with the striped legs that resemble a zebra. However, they're the only living relative of the giraffe. Like a giraffe, they can grow the ossicones on their head, which are the little horns, and they have a prehensile tongue, which gives them easier access to grab leaves from trees and bushes. The okapi were actually seen to be mythical creatures to the Western world up until about 1901. That's when they were first introduced to us. And one of the cool things about those okapi are their ears. They actually rotate 180 degrees independently. That way they can listen for danger in front of them, behind them, and to their side without having to touch their head. Down here by the watering hole to our left-hand side, there's going to be a couple of saddle-billed stork. They're some of the taller birds in Africa, standing about 5 feet tall with a wingspan that stretches about 9 feet wide. And they actually mate for life, so once they find their partner, they're with them until the end of their days. But the best way to tell the difference between male and female stork is just by looking at their eyes. Males have darker brown eyes, while females have lighter yellow eyes. As you pass by the watering hole, we're going to keep looking out for some large socializers out and about. And in fact, I think I see some movement coming up on the hill to our left-hand side here, so we're trying to get on this turn to get a better look. Actually, looking up on the hills to the right-hand side, you might see a few more of our forest friends. I think there's a greater kudu up there. Yep, greater kudu with the light brown coat and the white stripes. One of the larger antelope in Africa, weighing about 750 pounds. And also some bongo with the copper-colored coats and the white stripes. Actually nicknamed the ghosts of the forest because they're very rarely seen out in the wild. But again, keep your eyes up to the hills on the left-hand side. I think I saw some of that movement coming up here. And actually, it may have walked away from us. I'm not entirely too sure if we're going to get another look. And yeah, I think, in fact, looks like that black rhino may have walked away from us. But that is okay. A lot of the animals here in the forest tend to become a little more active as the sun starts to set. There are some predators most of the evening, so they'll take advantage of that. They come out graze and socialize with one another. However, as soon as they sense dangers in the area, they just go hide things to clear out until it's safe for them to come back out and start grazing again. As we get the savannah, though, we are going to be entering the forest. We're going to start making our way down towards the Safi River. The river is home to some of the more aquatic animals in Africa, like the Nile hippopotamus and Nile crocodile. We're really going to keep our eyes on the water at all times just to see what we can find hanging out. In fact, it's going to be pretty difficult to see, though. Look on the right-hand side. As soon as we enter the river, you might see the back of a Nile hippo up there. They kind of look like the floating rocks. They actually stay submerged underwater for most of the day to keep from overheating. And then they come up about every 8 minutes or so, grab a breath of air, and go back down under the water. We're going to try going downstream to see if we can maybe find any more of those hippos out and about. Well, it looks like off to the left-hand side, there's going to be some pink-back pelicans just moving out in the water. I know many of you are thinking, if they're pink-back pelicans, and why are they gray and white? They actually get a pink color on their feathers to signify mating season. And they're pretty social birds as well. They can live in groups that range anywhere from 20 to 500. Now, if we don't see any hippo, don't be too surprised. They may be out trying to graze right now. They have those large and sharp incisor teeth that they use to cut down tall grass and vegetables since it's herbivores. Looks like a lot of these pink-back pelican are out looking at some food as well. You might see a lot of these vultures out on the railings as well with the wings spread out. They're not doing that to intimidate us. What they're actually doing is drying themselves off. You know, it's pretty hard to fly with them in feathers, so yeah, they're going to try to climb the up as fast as they can so they think they might get it. We're going to go for we're going to take a look over to the left and right hand side. We can't see if we can find anything, but actually looking through the trees, I do see something special and unique coming up. It's going to end up being on our right-hand side here, so keep your eyes open to the right as we get past a lot of these other trees and bushes. And in fact, coming up to the right, this is going to be known as the baobab or upside-down tree. Now the baobab does go leafless for about 9 months out of the entire year in order to conserve energy. But taking a look at that tree trunk, some baobabs have actually been known to store upwards of 1,000 gallons of water in there just to remain living. Because of this, a lot of African tribes like to call the baobab the tree of life. And that tree means we're going to be entering one of my favorite parts of the reserve, which is the savannah. The savannah plays home to a couple million migratory animals every single year, and actually the superhighway across Africa is of the animals as well. Now, I do see a lot of blue-stocked animals roaming about, so we're going to try to get a much better look at them here in just a moment. But actually, coming up on our right-hand side, looks like there are going to be a couple of spring-bok gazelle. So we're going to get a look at those spring-bok over there to the right. Now, they are some of the smaller gazelle in Africa. They stand about 3 feet tall, and they have a wingspan, or they stand about 3 feet tall, but they can actually jump up to 8 feet in the air just standing still. Now, they're also one of the top 10 fastest land animals, averaging speed between 50 and 60 miles per hour. So moving forward, they've been known to jump up to 13 feet in the air. That is enough to go over the truck if they needed to. Now, with a lot of the animals that come and migrate through the savannah, they act as a natural ground. So, for example, giraffes will eat the leaves from atop the trees, trimming them down. Elephants will then bulldoze the trees over to make walking paths. And antelope and gazelle act as lawnmowers and mow down all the tall grass that's around here. And it looks like we are being held up here for just a moment, as might be stuck in a literal giraffic jam, as there might be some giraffe in the road. In fact, I see a couple Maasai giraffes all the way out to the right-hand side. I see that younger one moving out and about. Looks like everyone's going to be going poli-poli, which is Swahili for slowly, so we are going to get back on our way very shortly here. But it does look like those are Maasai giraffe out to our right-hand side. Now we know there's other Maasai giraffe because they have that jagged brown pattern on their coat, and no two coats are ever the same. Each one is individual and unique, just like each one of us has an individual and unique fingerprint. So, let's say we're going to get back on our way. We're actually going to try to get closer to those giraffe here in just a few moments. But as we pass by the trees and bushes to our left-hand side, we're going to take a look over these hedges and see if we can possibly find any predatory movement. So, as we look off to the left, we're looking out for some of those predators, although not having much luck finding anything. We're running around at the moment. We'll get around the rocks. See if there's anything hiding from us inside that cave up there. But actually, looks like we're recording for some more giraffe migration up ahead. Again, we should be getting pretty close to them here in just a second. Here I glimpsed on into that cave. You might be able to see something laying down as we get around the rocks here. Oh, and I thought there were going to be a couple spotted hyena taking a nap inside the cave. A lot of people like to think that the hyenas are scavengers, when in fact they're some of the most successful pack runners. They've been known to chase their prey up to the point of exhaustion, and then at that point the circle of life commences. Now, although they kind of look like dogs, they actually live in their own class called Hyenidae. They also live in female-dominated clans, so the lowest ranking female is higher than the highest ranking male. So if you want to talk about some girl power, those spotted hyena will show you how it is done. Now, in media, they're often portrayed as laughing animals. However, they do not know how to laugh. What they can actually do, though, is make 11 different sounds, which is how they communicate with one another. Now, it looks like we have a tower of giraffe coming up to our left-hand side. The tower is what you call a group of them, and in fact, it looks like to be a pretty small tower to our left. So it looks like some baby giraffe over here to our left-hand side. And pretty close to them. Now, with these baby giraffes, they're some of the biggest babies on the planet. For anatomy, they're more about 6 feet tall, and they can begin walking and running about an hour after birth. So in case there's danger in the area, they can escape with the tower. In fact, the baby giraffes are introduced to the world with a 6-foot drop, as the mothers do give birth standing up. And they are going to be one of the tallest creatures on the planet, averaging heights between 18 and 20 feet. And looking atop their heads, it looks like those ossicles and other little horns are fully grown in. When the babies are born, those ossicles are just soft cartilage as it helps with the birthing process. Then as they get older, that cartilage hardens and meshes into the skull to compete for the giraffes. Looking off to the right-hand side, looks like there's going to be a fully grown Maasai giraffe beginning its migratory movement. In fact, we're going to have to hold it here for just a moment, as it looks like it is getting ready to cross the road. So we're just going to follow closely behind it here. But looking at the neck of the giraffe, although it do seem very long, they actually have the same amount of invertebrae as our next two, but for obvious reasons, their bones just have to be a little bit bigger. Yeah, slowly but surely it's going to get across. I'm just going to follow right behind it here in just a moment. Now, one of the coolest features about the giraffe are their tongues. In fact, I might be showcasing that tongue right here. The tongue of the giraffe grows between 16 and 18 inches, and there's a dark shade of purple and black. And that prevents it from getting sunburned since they spend about 20 hours a day just eating. And because they spend 20 hours a day eating, they'll only spend about 30 minutes a day sleeping. Like we got a couple more of those springboks to our left and right hand side. So they're all just crazy out with tall grass here. Now, one of the biggest ways we help the wildlife in the savannah is by doing the 3 R's back home. That's reducing, reusing, and recycling. But that's much more than recycling papers and plastics. Certain mining practices look for a mineral that's found in batteries or devices. So, it's really good advice everybody comes out to remove the old ones to take them to your recycling shelter and they dispose of them for you. On top of the hill to the left-hand side, there's going to be some sable antelope. Looks like there's 4 of them up there. They're the emblem for the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, and they have the sharp horns on their head, which act as a deterrent for predators who jump on their back. Also, this one sharp hook in the horns, the predators feel them below, making them one of the best protected animals. Also, coming to our right-hand side, looks like some more Maasai giraffe and some white-bearded wildebeest, and even some Patterson's even. Now, these white-bearded wildebeest to the right, they are the largest of the migratory animals, in herd size, about 1.5 to 2 million. Lead the charge every single year across the savannah for the hoofstocked animals. And up on the hill to the right, you'll see those Patterson's eland. They are the largest of the antelope. They weigh between 1,000 and 2,000 pounds and stand about 6 feet tall at the shoulder. They're both male and female eland over horns, but the best way to tell the difference is by looking at their coats. Males have darker coats, while females have lighter coats. Now, with a lot of the animals that we have seen so far, they will come together at nighttime and form a type of mega herd. When they form this mega herd, they protect one another and look out for each other, and they also like to surround pregnant females as well. In the event that they do start to convert, they can do so in a safe environment without predators. Now, coming up ahead, it does appear that there are some trees that have been knocked down, and they could have been knocked over by some elephants. We're definitely going to keep our eyes open for any African elephant coming up ahead. Let's see what's on the right-hand side. Not having much luck find this elephant right away. We're going to check out by this watering hole over to the right, so we can find anybody out there. Nobody passed the watering hole. We're going to check one more time behind the bushes right here. Hopefully we can find someone out and about. I see an opening coming up behind the road closed sign, so we're definitely going to take a look back here. Oh, and sure enough, to the right-hand side, there's going to be the African elephant out there. Now, because this elephant is by itself, it could be a male. Males are generally kicked out of the herd at about 15 years of age. At that point, they do learn to live by themselves, becoming solitary animals, or they find bachelor groups of males to live with, and then they go find or form their own bachelor herd and find females to start their own herds with. So we're going to go try to do is see if we can find that herd of females that may or may not have picked them out. Now, unfortunately for the elephants, they are poached for their tusks, which are made of ivory, and then the ivory are sold onto the black market art pieces. In fact, according to studies, on average, one elephant is poached every 15 minutes. That's about 96 elephants a day just hunted for those tusks, and they can become extinct during our lifetime. But with our help with animal conservation, we can find those poaching numbers, and cut down to the poaching that almost don't exist, and save these creatures from generations to come. We also learned that they can communicate their attacks somewhere in the same way bats and elephants do. So although we don't necessarily have to hear them blowing out of their chunks, they are still talking to one another 5 to 10 miles away. Now, as we track through the red clay pits to our left and right hand side, it does appear that there are some elephant test marks as well as some elephant footprints both to our left and right hand side. So that female herd must have been through here not too long ago, so we're going to keep an eye out to the left where the herd will come out. Now, the baby elephants are some of the more social members of the herd. These are most of the day running around with their aunts and cousins. It's having fun being kids. However, at nighttime, just like how we used to have a curfew, they also have a curfew. Mom will call them back just to guarantee their safety when it is time to go to bed. Now, when they come across the red clay like you just drove through, what they will actually do is dig it up and consume it, and that's how they gather sodium and vitamins out of the savannah. These elephants are very smart as well. They cannot find a water source nearby. What they will do is look for the closest baobab tree. At that point, they'll run into the tree and dig their tusk deep inside that trunk and then suck out all the water that is being stored in there. So it looks like no elephants past the burlap, but it looks like they are hanging out by the water, so we're going to try to get you guys closer to that water to get a better look at some more elephants. Now, during the day, you might see them fleeing dirt, water, and mud on their back. It actually acts as a natural sunblock since they have very sensitive skin. If you ever see the elephants flapping their giant ears, they're not doing that to show off the size or take flight. They're actually doing that to protect themselves off. Boy, I do see an elephant coming straight up ahead here. Maybe a pretty good look at that one. I found a sign of one hanging out by the water as well. Another elephant closer to the water to our left-hand side. Now, we have found out that elephants are not afraid of mice. They are actually afraid of bees. So what farmers would do is put beehives around the fences of their crops. Then when the elephants migrate, they hear the buzzing and turn around. Therefore, crops are protected for the farmers, elephants are protected from the farmers, and then farmers get to harvest honey as well. So it's actually a win-win for both parties. Also on the islands on our left-hand side, there are going to be some greater flamingos. They get their pink color from the tiny beta shrimp out of the shallow water. However, they're the lightest shade of pink out of all flamingo. During the day, they spend most of their time in shallow pools like this. However, at night, even they tend to migrate to more populated bodies of water. They're pretty social birds as well. They can live in groups ranging anywhere from 20 to 500. So when you do get a large flamingo like this, they're actually known as a flamboyants. They might see some of those flamingos standing up on one leg. It's actually how they shift their body weight around as well as regulate their body temperature. We're going to keep trucking along with this ability to see if we find more information. And I do see a bunch of animals that could possibly be some more rhino in the area, so we're going to keep an eye out for that. Looking off to the left, not just a vacant mud pit at the moment. It does look pretty used though. So it looks like those rhinos must have been through here as well. Now what the rhinos will do during the day is roll around in that mud, and that's how they get a natural sunblock coating, since they too have a very sensitive skin on the chest. Take a look down this pathway on the right, looks like nothing down there as well. But again, the savannah is pretty large, so we're about to see some more animals coming up here very shortly. In fact, we'll be looking at the different trees. You might see some rhino as well. They don't want to roll around in the mud. They just find the closest tree to lay under, and they gather up all that shade. And actually, I do see some rhinos coming up on our right-hand side. Just keep your eyes to the right. We're going to try to swing around this hill and get a much better view of them. Oh, and in fact, these are going to be the white rhinoceros on the hill to our right-hand side. Now, unfortunately for the rhinos, they're poached for that horn, which is made of keratin, the same material that makes up your fingernails and hair. So there's no medicinal purpose for it whatsoever. If you look at the rhinos, actually look at their mouth. They actually get their name from the Afrikaans word vite, meaning wide, in relation to that mouth. There's no way to distinguish a rhino by looking at their skin rather than at that mouth. Now, looking at their ears, you might notice how they have little hairs on them. That strengthens the hearing for the rhinos since they are almost blind animals. So although they cannot see that well, they rely on their hearing to just know what is going on around them. And looking into the bushes on our left-hand side, that's going to be a water buck over there with a white circle around its bottom. But they do not migrate as often as other animals do in the savannah. In fact, they live in areas of high volume of water. There's a big cat over to the left-hand side. There's going to be a cheetah lying down in the tree.
Oh, yeah.
Let's keep an eye on this water buck. And though those cheetah are some of the smaller big cats, they're the fastest land animal. They go 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds, but they only maintain that top speed for a few hundred yards before getting tired and taking a rest. And when we're lucky enough to get to our sunglasses during the day, obviously the cheetahs see them. But they have this sort of dark streaks that run underneath their eyes. Never let the sun hit in their face. That way they're not blinded when they come up. Down the head, looks like there are going to be some Kobe moths. These generally have some of the largest predators in Africa, but they also actually look out for all the migratory animals as well. For example, a migratory herd will elect one leader to climb to the top of the rocks, and then take a look around to make sure it is safe to graze. However, if they sense dangers in the area, they alert the herd that they just need to get out of there ASAP. That way they don't become lunch for someone later on in the day. Now, looks like again we are going to be going poly-poly, as there might be some more rhino in the road, maybe some ostrich as well. So again, we're going to try to get around these rocks. We'll still be looking out for some predators on top of the rocks to our left, but we'll just keep an eye open to our right-hand side as well, as you never know what is going to be on our path. There are going to be some more rhino coming up as well. They're going to be grazing up ahead, so we're going to get a look at those rhino here in just a few moments. And still looking out for some predators to our left. And I see some more antelope coming up to the right as well, so we're going to get a pretty good look at them here in just a second. So it looks like, again, we are holding for some more rhino in the road up ahead. So hopefully they get out of the way here. This one is peacefully eating underneath the tree to the right-hand side. If you can see that white rhino out there. You can really get an idea for how large they are. In fact, they do weigh between 5,000 and 6,000 pounds. And they too can charge up to speeds of about 35 miles per hour. Just think of them as the little mini semi-trucks on the savannah. That looks like that one's heading towards the road as well. So they actually might be stuck here for a little longer than anticipated. Actually, if you look past the trees out to the right-hand side, you might see that ostrich standing next to that Africa the Wild truck out there. So, and Austin just hanging out right next to the truck. We'll try to swing around the tree so you get a better look.